Welcome back to another episode of Nancy Drew Season 4 Episode 11, Review, The Sinner's Sacrifice. Warning, spoilers ahead, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Nancy did what? On Nancy Drew Season 4, Episode 11, not even she knew. All she could recall was flame, which fit with Ace being weirdly linked to a ghost and a burned body in the mortuary. What the hell is happening? Nancy has a reason for visiting the Fountain of the Sin Eater. She was trying to forget what one quick discussion with Ace had caused her to be. Whatever it was, Nancy is torn up inside by her guilt and won't stop until she learns the truth. Naturally, she won't. As Nancy Drew, she is. She can solve any enigma that has to be solved. And in this one, she is involved with the love of her life. Ryan was really kind to make an effort to persuade her to let it go. To reassure Nancy that, despite how awful it might be, she is so much more than her lowest point. One of the series' numerous high points is Ryan and Nancy. To think that only a year prior, he was unaware that he had a daughter, and yet today, he would go to any lengths to assist Nancy or ensure her safety. Their relationship possesses a delicate fragility. Perhaps it's the novelty of it. There is a preciousness in their relationship that they both seem willing to cherish, even if it goes unspoken most of the time. Perhaps this is because they were deprived of a father-daughter link up until this point through no fault of their own. We'll move on to Ace and his ghost after talking about pain. Knowing that Ace has spent weeks conversing with a ghost through an ancient transistor radio, which has been his sole source of happiness, is terrible. Ace has been so miserable and alone. There's clearly a problem here, but it appears like there are still some important jigsaw pieces to be found. This ghost isn't even aware of her identity. Her name escapes me. She just remembers that she was cold when she passed away, but her body was completely burned. She also seems to be captivated by Ace. Yes, Ace is fascinating, but why is this happening now when, to our knowledge, Ace has never been able to connect with the dead directly before? There are still some pieces to this puzzle that we don't know about, but the Nancy Drew mystery writer deserves praise for creating a case that I can't wait to crack. It's also somewhat comforting to know that Nancy sought out supernatural assistance because she and Ace found it so tough to separate. Because she never felt completely comfortable with her decision to date Tristan. They weren't going to attempt to break the death spell Temperance placed on them, and neither were their friends as willing to accept as much. The Drew crew has given up since. Ace hosting the Passover Seder with his friends and family present may have been one of the most memorable scenes in the entire series. I've never been to a Seder, but after reading this, I found myself wishing I could go. I have always been fascinated by something about Jewish traditions. Maybe it's because they persist despite all the attempts made by evil in the world to destroy them. Even when their relationship is tense, it is obvious that Ace and his father have a deep love for one another, and their shared traditions help strengthen their family. Ace has now decided to include his selected family in the sharing of that information. But learning that Ace had always wanted to attend the Seder with a date made me sad. Nancy should be that person. Instead, a ghost and he were sharing it. There were further problems brought on by this gathering. Nick heard George and Judge Abbott talking, and he was appalled. Nick was horrified by George's apparent willingness to let a man die in order to save their friend. The look on Nick's face said everything. Although George has always had a tough exterior, was his former love and future bride truly that cold? Thankfully, George heard Nick's reprimand in this Nancy Drew quotation. Abbott, allow me to atone. George, that won't happen with this. Having a bullseye on your back is punishment. It is not a call to repentance or responsibility. One life is not given up to save another. George and Nick are fierce competitors and devoted friends. Would they genuinely be content if the other actually moved on and started dating someone else? Maybe, but I can't help but feel it. Even though I become more and more concerned that it won't happen with each new episode, I still hope they reconcile. It was clear Jean was probably pregnant the instant she fumbled over her justification for why she was at the hospital. The only thing more unexpected was that Nancy was so out of it that she failed to follow the clue and ask the obvious question. What was on the third floor if not podiatry? OB-GYN, probably. Carson was being questioned properly by Jean. He has already brought up a child. Does he want to start over from scratch? Carson and Kate had already been married when they adopted Nancy. They were devoted to and in love with one another. Jean and Carson recently started dating. They hardly know one another at all, really. It appeared as though Jean was inclined to have this child. If so, will she and Carson co-parent, or will this cause their burgeoning romance to move more quickly? Finally, we arrive at the bizarre revelation that Callie, like many generations of her family before her, serves as the sinner's caretaker. Is Callie's public opposition to the teaching of anything paranormal a result of her desire to keep the town's dark past a secret? Or is it just her desire to retain that power? In any case, she warned the Drew crew. Recall this. I don't care about any of you, and if you ever attempt to undo the Glass's sin-eating legacy, I'll come for you without mercy. Only 2 episodes remain, and there are many more questions than there are solutions. Will we ever see the Glasses again? Is Tristan doomed to pass away before he hits 30 because Callie is preserving the sinner's legacy? I would be concerned about the sin-eater curse tying to the soul of Carson and Jean's child if this were not Nancy Drew's final season, but I just don't believe there is enough time left for that. What, above all, did Nancy do to warrant her rushing to atone for her transgression? Will she and Ace be reunited after uncovering the mystery? Thank you for watching.